You're joining us. Thank you for joining us. We've got a fantastic guest tonight. His name is Markus Kerner, and let's get started. Craig Bell.
All right, James Scott Campbell. Let's get it going.
Friends, to another episode of the At the Net podcast, powered by Tex-Mex Productions. Working the soundboards in the back of the house are our producers, D-Mac and Dave the Brain. Time to say hello to your hosts, Craig Bell and AJ Shabria, as they're about to take us through 3 sets of tennis, talking life and all the news as it seems to them. Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Bell.
That would be thanks to our At the Net podcast girl, Margot Carter. Now, I've been practicing the word of the night here.
I always look forward to the word of the night, and this is going to be a good one because I bet it's in the language of Estonia.
And I don't speak Estonian very well, but uskumatu? Is that good?
That's very good.
Uskumatu.
Oh, what that means?
Impressive.
Uskumatu.
Unbelievable. Is that correct? Is that correct? All right, I did it.
You know, half a day's drive south of Estonia is Romania, and that was Necrezut.
That's right.
Necrezut.
Exactly. That was last week.
So same translation, totally different languages, obviously.
Uskumatu.
Yeah.
Uskumatu.
Sounds great, right?
Yeah.
Uskumatu.
Yeah.
Uskumatu. And now, all of a sudden, because you did that, I want to pronounce his name, not Markus Kerner, like we do in English, but Markus Kerner.
He rolls the R's really well. I don't do that. But that was an unbelievable introduction in Estonian from Margot Carter, right? No, that's the Queen's English.
That was great.
Welcome, fans, to the great game. You're listening to Season 1, Episode 116. We're still moving. We're pressing towards that, maybe that 200 mark. You think we'll get there?
We will.
Yeah.
It's taken us almost close to 3 years to go 116.
Well, maybe we'll get Marcus to come back on the 200th episode,
we need
right?
to. And
or maybe 4.
And we always joke, it's our 3rd year, but it's still Season 1.
It's always Season 1.
Always.
Of At the Net podcast with, on my left, that's always AJ Chabrier right there. There's the man right there.
And with me, as always, to my right, the great Craig Bell. So happy you're hosting tonight and producing tonight. Thank you, CB.
And we are talking the great game of tennis tonight as it seems to us. Thanks also go out to our good amigos at Tex-Mex Productions. That would be one Darian D. Mac McBrayer. And there was no brain sighting tonight, so I'm flying solo. So hopefully nothing goes wrong. I don't have the safety net, so we're trying.
You didn't even FaceTime with him.
Nope.
To prep for this.
I'm just going. I'm just thinking. Hopefully the big burrito doesn't let me down, and we have to call the brain. But Dave the Brain from back of the house, who are not on the soundboard, but we like to say they're on the sound. It just kind of sounds better. 116 episodes. We don't want to redo the introduction. So, but I'm moving the dials and buttons to make us sound like real people, look like real people. We're not holograms, as Johnny Aldell says. You guys can't afford, holograms. So, but we're live and not Memorex. Also, be sure to like and follow us on Facebook. Most of you are watching us on Facebook right now, so please like us, YouTube and Instagram. Plus, check out our good work on Cleansing Breath. Here we go. Fireside, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, CastBox, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Spotify. I did it again. So I got lucky. Basically, that's all the important communication sites the kids find popular, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of kids, how about this young guy we've got in the show tonight?
Oh, my goodness. He's Uskumatu.
Uskumatu.
Is it Us? Do you have to go Us, or is it Us?
Uskumatu.
I like
that. Yeah. I like it.
Sounds like Boris and Natasha. From back in the cartoon days.
Boris Badenov.
That's right. All right. So our guest this evening is Markus Kerner. Markus, welcome to At the Net podcast. We were so happy to have you join us tonight on a Sunday night, May 1st. I want to say shout out to my daughter Ashton Bell. Real quick. Birthday, 34 years young.
Ashton, East Coast
in Charlotte, North Carolina, North Kakalaki.
Kakalaki, yeah.
So,
awesome.
How old are you, Markus? Just out of curiosity.
27.
27. Well, that's a good age.
Born in November.
Yeah. Born in November.
So I'll be 28 in November.
Yeah, so 27 and a half. And speaking of half, your family is really 2.5 people, about to be 3, because you are a newly
be a father. It's crazy.
Newly married guy and not even 30, and you've got a baby coming. And he's going to be like you. This boy is going to be a 6'6" kid coming out of your sweet wife.
Yes, I really hope so.
He might be playing for the Mavericks. They might, maybe in about 18, 20 years, he might be like Luka, maybe and play some basketball for the Mavericks, right?
Yeah. I hope so.
Or hopefully tennis
tough.
too.
Or maybe tennis too, basketball. You know, he could do both.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, right?
That's the plan. Those two.
That's the plan. Okay, so just make sure your wife's on board also too. She might have some other plans. You know, I got 4 kids, so
I'll make sure. I'll try to remember to ask her too.
He's got 1 kid, so you got to get on the same page because your plans aren't always your plans. I'll put it that way. After being married for a lot of years, I used to have a real circular head. It used to be circular, but now it's flat from my wife hitting it from all the time. Just bam. And then eventually
mine is slowly becoming this way.
Well, like I said, Marcus, we're really glad to have you on the podcast. We've been talking about this for a number of weeks, months to get you on. Finally, the opportunity worked out, and so we're really happy to have you aboard and to talk about your experience in the great game, what all's going on in your life, and so I'm really interested in hearing. I don't think we have an Estonian guest yet, have we? Have we had anybody from Estonia?
We haven't. We've had lots of people from all over the world, and he's pals with other Estonians like Kaia Kanepi, Annette Kontaveit, who's in the news all the time, and he is the standout of the male players from his country, and we're so proud to have him on the show.
Yeah. Me and Kontaveit are the same age. We grew up together, and I was at the time I was the guy's best player, and she was the girl's best player, and she went to really take the tennis world. Literally take the tennis world. So I believe she'll be a slam champion. I think so.
I believe so too. And she's number 4 or 5 in the world at the moment, right?
5. Yeah.
5.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous. Well, let's get into the 3-set format. We want to get into, speaking of Estonians, we want to get into the background of Markus Kerner. So tell us about growing up in Estonia and becoming an athlete and a tennis player.
Yeah, well, basically, I'm from a smaller town. My dad was a tennis enthusiast, and basically, when he played, he took me there, and then all of a sudden, I started kind of liking it. Started kind of living tennis, hitting against the wall all the time. Living on the courts, and then in Estonia we have a good system. I think in US maybe you can compare it with like IMG, where people we have a high school of the best athletes in the country, basically. So that's in Tallinn, that's in the capital of Estonia. And then, swimmers, runners, basketball, volleyball, you name it. Best athletes come together, they go to school together, and they go to separate training. I think IMG is kind of similar setup, right?
Yeah, and
if I'm not wrong,
kind of a sport profile of the high school.
Yeah, exactly. Classes are together, but practices are obviously all separate. You have all the facilities, and that was the best situation you could get in Estonia at that time. Well, till this day, I mean, it's I was really a fan of that setup because you have the athlete environment all the time. You see now if I'm looking at TV, if I read news, every best athlete that I read about was my roommate, classmate. So it's kind of cool to have those connections, and it was cool to have that environment growing up. And I went actually there young. I went to 7th grade, so before high school. I was in regular school, but I went to practices. So basically, I was there even more time than normally people only go to high school. So and then, you get to the point where you start to decide whether you turn pro or you go to college, basically.
Marcus, when you were in 7th grade before high school, did you live there or did you drive there from your home?
So before 7th grade, I was in my hometown, my small town. There was a local coach that moved to Viljandi is the name of the town. And we trained together, and there was few training partners through the time, but obviously it's a 15,000 people town. Tennis was very new to the town. Purely the enthusiasm towards the game from me and my dad was kind of took me to the next level, had me being able to move to train with the federation. But before that, we didn't, until I was 12, I think we didn't have courts. Yeah. We didn't, we had regular sports, wooden floor, you hear a lot of these, I think Becker and these guys grew up on playing on wood, and it's it's really fast.
Yeah.
But it helps you build your timing up, so it's kind of, I'm glad it went this way. And then all of a sudden in certain moment you have to make a decision, and then I decided to go, and yeah, it's thanks to my dad, who really pushed tennis in my hometown overall. Not pushed
That's
me,
tremendous.
but developed the game in the town. And now that small town is like, we have a nice facility. We have, really nice outdoor courts, hundreds of people playing. You can't get a court, but that was kind of the time, I believe, when it really started. And, now we have, 2-3 players coming, on a good level that have potential to play D1 tennis from a 15,000 people town. And they have a good program there. The 2 coaches both played college tennis. One played in Liberty, and another one played in South Carolina State.
Oh, yeah.
So 2 guys who played college went back to Estonia, went to the small town, and now they've built a really exciting program there, which is really cool.
Sparked by you and your father. That's tremendous. I was lucky enough to meet your mom and dad when they came over here for your graduation from SMU something like 5 years ago. Is that right? It's been 5 years?
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah.
That was 5 years ago.
Almost exactly 5 years ago. Yeah, May. And tell us a little bit about how you went from being one of the top juniors in Estonia, or the top junior in Estonia, and playing European championships and all that, to being recruited by Division I colleges here in the States, like University of Tennessee, that's in Knoxville, and SMU right here in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, when you're in a smaller country, you start playing in Europe, you start getting more international exposure. Your coaches, U.S. coaches, are starting to look at that. They don't look really local. They don't look for local best players. They look for, the best in Europe, the high-level players in the world, and especially in ITFs. So that's under 18, until 18. Yeah. And, when you go to the higher-level tournaments, coaches look in European championships as well. With Tennessee, I had a really good friend there who was a really, really good player. And then he told to the coach about me back in that time, and the coach flew to Estonia to watch me practice for 3-4 days.
Oh, good.
Spoke and met, and seemed like a good fit that time, and it was. And then but at that moment, I still wasn't 100% sure if I'm going to go to college or go pro. But inside, I felt that the results weren't. I didn't feel like I could just. I was ready to go through the tennis world, which is obviously extremely hard to do. And then I took the more different kind of route, which I'm very happy I did now, and opened up the world for myself. I opened up the chances that the hard work through tennis that I did when I was younger helped me get full scholarship to the US and play on a high level and give myself chances to do whatever after, to go pro, to pursue something different, which I did. And
you speaking of going pro, you played a good level of singles as well as a very high level of doubles. You got to represent your country, Estonia, in Davis Cup, which is amazing. One of your mentors and coaches here in the States was Chris Woodruff, who I remember as, of course, University of Tennessee, and he played Davis Cup for the United States. I will never forget how well he played against Zimbabwe. USA versus Zimbabwe at Zimbabwe. And tell us some of the things that you have learned from him, not just about tennis, but specifically Davis Cup, and also a mutual friend of ours, Carl Neufeld, who coached you and the whole team at SMU. Give us some nuggets from those guys.
Interesting question. I can't exactly recall if I would really have to focus that what he brought about Davis Cup. I know interesting things that he has. I know his most interesting fact about him was that he's beaten 7 active world number ones, right?
I remember the Pete Sampras and the Agassi win, and I feel like he beat Guga. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. He, but he was like 20, 25, so 20 in the world, I think. And then he had like huge amount of active number one victories. He's a brilliant guy, really. What he's done with the program now, you can see they're, competing for the national championships. And he had a very, very intelligent mind on the tennis court. And it's very interesting. It was very interesting to experience. And the way he kind of always represented himself and the expectations we had as a team, he kept it on a very high level always, and played big role. And that was one of the toughest things leaving Tennessee was not having him as a coach. That was definitely, I remember that. But he definitely, we also, our volunteer assistant was Ben Testerman.
Oh, wow. He was a
pretty good player too.
Top 15 or 20 in the United States when I was a kid in the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah, he was also, it's a very interesting coaching staff to have in a, it's your volunteer was 15 in the world. That's pretty, I don't know if you see that very often. Maybe
that's
sometimes.
Tremendous. Yeah. I actually remember Ben as Billie Jean King touted him as the next great American. And he had, did he still have that curly hair that he did when he was a young player?
He was.
Okay. I get that. I understand that. It's good.
I hope he's gonna watch it as well.
It's great. Hopefully Ben's watching and fondly remembered American player Ben. Yeah. So tell us about the transition over to SMU, which of course I'm glad you did because that's how we met when you came over here to Dallas.
Yeah, it was similar. I had a good friend here, Tennessee. I didn't feel like, especially the second semester, that it was the place where my potential came out the most. It was really the case. And then I started to look around, see what other options, because really I didn't took any visits. I didn't when I was in Estonia. I didn't know anything about it, so I kind of just listened to the word that what my friend told me, which I'm great with that idea. But then I started looking around, and I was more educated about what U.S. college tennis is, and came on a visit, and the facility was just going to be ready, and the program was more on an up and coming program, and that's kind of that motivated me the most. Maybe was there I can be a part of the build from ground up, basically, because it was everybody graduated. Almost the facility was completely new, new assistant coach. Fairly new, year or two, Kyle Spencer, who was in NC State now.
That's right.
New players coming in, really exciting players. When now we look back, when you have a walk-on that's 7 in the world now or 8 in the world now, it shows that, we did something right, and we made the Sweet 16. We did really well in our college career, but that was mainly it. I kind of wanted to be a part of something where I can make a big impact on building of the program.
I'm glad you did, and you played number one singles and doubles here at SMU. Such a successful career, going to the Sweet 16, like you said, in the Nationals. We see a lot of South American and European standout players do really well here, and you could almost say almost dominate the top 15 or 20 in this country in NCAA. Tell us some of the things that American kids and American coaches can learn from some of you guys who had a chance to play the tour but chose college tennis. What are some of those elements?
I think Americans really, they stay on a very big variety for very long in what they do.
I see.
That's the one big thing I kind of notice is not just here, but overall, because you have so many options that sound more attractive than tennis, but you still keep doing that. But then in Europe, they really eat and sleep tennis. That's all they do. In South America as well. They kind of take one thing and they commit to it a little bit earlier. Over here, you kind of, even in high school, you still play, baseball or tennis and then you do track, and which is, I'm not saying it can't work, but based off of my experience, I think you kind of have to live one sport at a certain point. It's good when you grow up until to do different things. I'm not absolutely against that, but when in Europe, people, players, it is a little bit of a different level of commitment to just being the best. And here, I think it comes out in different ways a little bit. It's more, I would say it's wider in people. People are pretty good at more things.
Good.
Instead, I'm not saying, but if you compare overall, I would say that's the case. Which what in the US I like more is the ability to make tennis as a team sport from a young age. And it's something I think in Europe that could be done better. I think it is an individual sport, but that could be a way that's really pushing, seeing others. That's let's say something Europe doesn't have.
Yeah.
So I see a good side from American tennis as well, and I think U.S. tennis is picking up now.
It really has.
Guys. I mean, Korda is. I love his game.
Love it.
It's Fritz and all these guys. I mean, I think it's starting to shift a little bit again. I really believe so.
It is.
It looks. You stop 30, you have Pelka. Pelka. He's incredible. That guy moves well and hits on the baseline well. I mean, he's already 15 in the world.
Yeah.
16, something like that. I mean, I think it's, it's coming to the level of where it's supposed to be.
Good to hear. And as we go here into the second set, as we drift away from your background as a player, let's get into your current project. You are, of course, let's get to real estate in a minute or two, but you are such a successful coach and teaching pro. Granted, you still, practice with people like Isner and Sock and, the SMU players. So you still beat up on some college boys, but mainly you've become such a successful tennis coach. Tell us some elements that have made you successful, not just with kids, but adults. And maybe you can help with, you mentioned how some of the team aspects that Europeans can learn from America and some of the specialization that Americans can learn from others. What are some, not general, but specific things that have made you successful?
As a coach?
Yes.
I mean, overall, I feel like it all started by being a good, honest person. I mean, that's meaning everything, I guess, but I really feel like, it's telling people the truth and having a vision about people's games. I always have when I have a player or whoever. I run a camp, a clinic, or just having a vision of how you want to run things your way, so it becomes your product. People know what they're going to get out of when it becomes a brand, or so to say. And more specifically, if it's on tennis, then kind of sharing the vision that you have for the player and making them commit to it. And it's I've been, I haven't had any, so to say, standout juniors or too much. I've run a junior program. But specifically, if you look at each player individually and for them to compare themselves to themselves, I think I've kind of mastered doing that.
I see it.
Comes to my mind right now.
I've seen it live on the neighborhood courts and, of course, at SMU. So, so well done, and I'm awfully proud you've come such a long way. Let's talk a little bit about the real estate side, because you're so successful as an investor and a developer, mostly back home in, we think of Estonia as a smaller country. It's not a new country because the culture has been around for hundreds and thousands of years, but the country itself was only formed right before you were born, probably, right?
91.
Yeah.
Yeah, 91.
Yeah.
It kind of, I think it was, ever since then, it's kind of, was more of an Eastern country back then that wanted to start shifting towards the West, because across the sea you have Scandinavia, that's very Westernized.
Yeah.
And now the momentum has shifted where it's, the Eastern part, there's not as much left anymore. And it's Westernized, and the way it's one of the most economically free and capitalistic countries in the world. And
I think of Tallinn, I think of tech, I think of beautiful architecture, Skype. That's right. Yeah. So how have you taken advantage of that economy and bought some things strategically? Tell us how you did it.
The very first thing why I started it actually was just I wanted to have a certain connection with Estonia. I wanted to kind of get it back because I felt like I started losing it. I felt like I started, friends go, their own ways and have families and, whatever. And when you kind of go, it's not the same place as it was in a way for my life, because, lives go on. And when then I was like, okay, maybe I'll try doing this. I'll try to buy it. I had a banker that I knew contacted with him, see if I can find leverage on the unit, and then I did, and then it became really successful. That's one rented it out, and then kept doing that, and kept building it, and then at a certain point, I wanted to. I felt like the power I had was kind of. I wasn't able to buy as much anymore, and then I kind of opened it up, made a small investment firm, and wanted to keep it growing. And basically here I am. I'm managing decent amount of real estate there as rentals and flipping units. So that's kind of, I've always wanted to use tennis for something bigger. I didn't necessarily always see myself. I to this day I don't find myself wanting to build a big tennis career, but seeing where the life can take me through it, where I can create something that has my vision to it in my own way, and that's something that I'm very good at, that I want to keep building and bring along.
That's
as many
great.
people as I can to make their life better.
Well, I could see him going back home to Estonia maybe and running the Estonian Open, or maybe a tennis tournament. Would you be you'd be a good tournament director, I think. Wouldn't you like to do something like that even?
Yeah, I think kind of good things kind of find you in itself when you just keep doing the right thing. So yes, I would definitely be open to something like that.
Well, it sounds like you're the mayor, the king of your town, and you could go back home and run some.
I'm not sure about that, but I am. I don't think not many people would have many bad things to say about it.
Well, you said your parents, helped kind of get the thing going, or your dad especially, and that you might think about that. Just throwing that little out there for you. I think I heard they're bringing WTA event very soon, next year maybe. So I mean, it's 1 year at Wimbledon we had the most players per capita.
Really?
So Estonian tennis is they're killing it. We're doing well always. People and players in top 20, men, women, juniors top 10. Constantly doing pretty well, producing good players. It's for a small country of 1.3 million people. It's we had like 5 players at Wimbledon, I think, and that's a lot for a 1.5 million people country. So the coaches are very good in Estonia. You always, when I go back now and look, I'm like high quality. what they do there, how they produce players.
That's about like one
really
person for
impressive.
300,000 people. Every 300,000 people, you get one
five
player.
in the main draw at Wimbledon.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's huge.
Oklahoma math.
Yeah. Well done, Craig Bell. Craig, as we wind down the second set, any questions from the crowd?
Rick Eckloff asked a question, and we'll go ahead. We might as well go ahead and ask it right now. This is usually a third set question.
That's right.
What was your favorite tournament to play?
Australian Open.
Oh, wow. Did you
Juniors,
play at ITF juniors or junior?
Juniors, yeah, definitely. I've been. I didn't get into the other slams after because my ranking dropped, but I did get to play that one, and I've been to the other ones, but still, the experience of overall Australian Open, I think, is the coolest tournament there is because I've been to the other slams as well. They're all amazing. Also, Indian Wells. We had the collegiate showdown where 8 teams were selected to go, and that was really cool.
Marcus,
European Championships in juniors were always fun.
And
Marcus, they were in Ostrava in Czech Republic. Cool, really cool places.
Yeah, Ostrava. That's where the great Ivan Lendl originally is from. Yeah. Hey, let's go back to the Australian Open for a second. How old were you? About 17 or 18?
Yes, 17.
And what was it like feeling like a professional player at a slam?
That's kind of what you dream of in the ITF circuit, in the junior circuit, is to being able to do that. And I was able to, and it's quite crazy when you get there, and you're able to experience all that. And it was a lot of Estonian fans there. We had really, really good time. Practice before that. We had a training camp in Asia, and they played some tournaments, and the whole thing was moments like that make you miss tennis for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I could see him staying at the Crown Hotel, probably in Melbourne. You probably stayed at the big Crown Hotel, right? Just down the river from the side.
Yeah.
The one that has the underground casino. You probably, he's probably staying there with all like Fed and Rafa.
That's where I was past midnight.
Yeah.
There we go.
Rafa, you probably saw Marcus there, didn't you?
I very much enjoyed to see Markus. No, he was gambling. I was going to sleep. No, he's a party. He's a party waiting to happen.
He's a party animal, huh? All those guys from Estonia.
Me and Safin were.
Oh, Brad.
Safin at quarters after.
Right.
That's right.
Smoking cigs and having a couple of highballs.
And multiple women around Safin. Yeah.
Right. Marcus' eyes were probably just like,
what is this, man?
This is the best night ever.
Right.
That's so funny. The Crown Hotel.
Right.
I was worried they'd put him up somewhere where they detained Djokovic a couple months ago. That kind of hotel. That was awful, huh?
Yeah.
Motel 6, is that Motel 6? Yeah, where they keep the lights on for you? So, one of those kind of places. Yeah. Novak didn't probably like that too much.
I'm sure. He's so mentally strong. He handled it, but poor guy.
You can tell it put a hit on his tennis for sure.
Oh yeah.
I can see it. I can feel it.
That guy
definitely. He's physically getting really tired in third sets. The best and fittest guy, and it's definitely had a toll mentally, especially. But that itself affects him physically as well.
Yeah.
So an interesting question.
Really been able to find. Yeah.
It's an interesting question. Just as you piqued my process of my brain going through this motion. Because you're a former tour player, can you recreate in practice that type of match play? Is that possible or not?
I don't think so. No, I never have been able to. It's a great question. I don't know in which setting it would have to be done, but then you could also already consider it a match or a tournament if it's done in a setting where it makes you go to the next round or whatever. You can, there can be ways to motivate in practice to increase the pressure. I think that is the closest it gets to it, increasing the pressure, but it's still, the feeling is definitely a little bit different when it's an actual match. Any kind of tournament, it really is different feeling. Maybe somebody would disagree with me, or maybe then I haven't experienced enough outside feeling like that. But I personally think it's tough to do. Increasing pressure is one thing to get closer to it, but it's not the same.
Because like when you practice, like say with some of the pro players that come into town that you hit with, are they just wanting to hit balls? Do they want you to play sets? Kind of what do they want?
Yeah,
just out of curiosity.
Mainly the guy I've hit with, Nathaniel Lamons, it's very doubles oriented. He's, 80 in the world, my former teammate. He very situation oriented overall listener as well. You see him do, serve and first ball all day, just run around forehand, go to the net, finish the point, just stuff like that. Not too much just hitting cross court. They get into detail a lot, spend 30 minutes on returns, a lot of second serves, things like that you do in a normal practice. You're used to hitting cross and, run moving a little. But they, biggest difference definitely is these good guys. They get very, very, very situation oriented, very specific, mainly strengths as well.
So strengths, not weaknesses as much.
Yeah, a lot of their strengths.
Yeah, in Houston too.
That's will be a bigger part.
In Houston 2 weeks ago, I saw Nathaniel Lamons, and his partner that whole week was Andre Goransson. Yeah, Swedish guy
from juniors.
Yeah, I thought he was about your age. You guys
played in Vietnam actually.
You did. You played against him. What was that match like?
Yeah, 3-2. Me.
You got him.
Come on.
And sorry, buddy. Yeah. I know Andre went on.
Then he went to Cal.
Berkeley.
Such a great player.
He was top 3 or 4 in the country in dubs and maybe singles. He was top 10 probably for a while.
I think so. Yeah. I saw them in Dallas Open as well. Really, really high level tennis. Like against JP Smith and Luke Seville.
That's right. Australians. Yeah.
That was high level tennis. But they get very detail oriented.
Yeah, and I can
a lot on their strengths.
I can echo your point about how focused and purposeful their practice was. What a great question, CB.
I got one last follow up.
Good.
One last follow up. All right. So on this same thought process, do they get mad if you beat them? Do they want you to try as hard as you can, or do they like in boxing? I know boxers, like if they spar, they don't want somebody beating up on them. So can you actually beat up on them? Do they care? Do they say, hey, come on, Marcus, go after it, go? Or they say, do you have to kind of?
When I show up, they tell me, Marcus, you have to slow down. Too much for us.
There you go.
You're bringing our confidence down.
That's right. That's part of the deal.
That's not why we want you here.
Then that's part of the deal. That's why I asked that question, because it's a meaningful question, because I've never really played with anybody that's do you want to help their confidence, or is it like
tennis is interesting, in a ways where anything happens in practice. It's when I was like 15, 16, I beat a set against Jürgen Top in Estonia. Like I remember it was it's practice. The thing is, people, again, good players, they very detail oriented. They practice certain things against guys like me, or who are not as good or not as serious anymore. So anything can happen. I would say no, it doesn't affect them, because they work on a certain thing and they're very focused on that.
So if you go out and kick their butt, if you go out and kick somebody's butt in practice, then they don't.
That would even be possible anymore. Then I think they'd be okay.
I don't know about that. I think
because they tried to do second serve, come in, practice things that they would want to execute under pressure more. Sure. So I think because of that, I don't think it's and also in tennis, you lose every week. You're literally gonna lose every week in tennis. And
like we just lost Marcus. We lost him. He lost.
Do you get me? Do you get me back?
We got you back.
We literally lose Marcus every week, but we got him back.
We got him back.
1 second.
Don't worry, I'll be back next week. No, it's I think you have to kind of embrace that fact that tennis is a very sport where that happens all the time, and you have to get better from that. And the same in practice, you go there to get better, not to be a very result oriented. And I think best players execute that very well, and that's why they constantly improve.
Markus, your first two sets, all of your conversations and responses have come from such a consistently humble and honest standpoint, which is honestly the first thing you said about your success as a coach. So consistent. However, as we roll into the third set here, we can let the hair down and have some fun.
We're gonna lose the consistency.
So, Craig Bell, as we go into the third set, first of all, anything else on the second before we head over?
I think we'll go to the third set. Let's just go
Who
ahead.
are we rolling with? Who's a sponsor here?
Well, that would be the great Blair Descaret, always of Master Systems. If you need something in the world of tennis and net, maybe like behind us right there, or maybe court surfacing, benches, products, just in general, I think our buddy Blair Descaret might be able to handle all those needs, right? Even in convivial fashion.
He
too,
is such a cool guy. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Very convivial.
Hope you call him. And speaking of sponsors, how do people get a hold of Kerner Holdings? Kerner, Markus.
It's good. It's currently a private equity company.
Okay.
So it's we're gonna work on seeing if there's a way to reach it, then it will be available. People
Perfect.
will have a way to find it. Yeah.
I'll donate.
But
But
I'll post my email address later.
Oh, good. We'll post that. And let's head into this third set, sponsored by Master Systems.
Masters and Kerner Holdings.
And
right?
Kerner Holdings.
Right,
Why not?
Right.
Yes.
Well, maybe future Kerner Holdings right there. So, all right, Markus, first band you saw in concert. Do you remember?
I happen to know Markus is not as much of a hip-hop
Not the last
guy.
band, but the first band.
First.
You know, the last band you saw in concert was this man hitting the skins, right?
That was Thursday night.
It was Thursday
But
night.
no, he's such a rock and roll guy.
That was the most memorable one I've ever.
Wow.
AJ on the drums was just.
Yeah. You've seen
so
it all,
fun.
done it all. You just dropped the mic and just said, "That's it."
Drop the sticks.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
done.
it. I'm done.
So funny.
It was Metallica.
Metallica. Interesting, really.
Yeah.
Was that
That
back
was
in
in-
Tallinn or here in the States?
That was in Tallinn.
Yeah.
I remember. That's more, the international one that really comes.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan as well.
He looks like a headbanger. Do you see his movements?
He's a
Metallica.
rocker.
I could see him. I could see him in the mosh pit. He was probably in the mosh pit, down there.
So many of his friends his age are into hip hop. He's more of a rock guy.
I could see that.
Yeah. I when I was younger, I chose it was kind of, my mom wanted me to go to music school and do that. And dad wanted me to go in more tennis. So I did both. I finished music school while I was playing tennis in my hometown for 5 years. I did finish music school. So
were you a singer? What instrument did you sing?
I did flute for 2 years, guitar for 3 years.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then guitar kind of stuck to me after that. Ever since. I finished when I was like right before I moved to Tallinn. So I was very young age, but still that kind of gave me the enthusiasm and the skill that certain skill that I will always will never lose. Hopefully.
Well, folks at home, you should know, about 2 years ago is the first time I saw Markus perform, not just tennis.
Oh,
but he played Pink Floyd songs, intricate, difficult guitar songs, and he sang while playing, and I was a one-man show. I was so impressed with this guy. Yeah,
Jimmy Page,
done.
Robert Plant, all in one, right? Jimmy Page, right? Oh, no, Pink Floyd. You said Pink Floyd.
Pink, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I was getting ahead of myself. So I was.
That was a little, That was fun. I like to do it in a certain setting where you have friends around.
Dark Side of the Moon. Did he play a little Dark Side of the Moon?
I think he played "Wish You Were Here." Is that right?
"Wish You Were Here." Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing song.
Do you still play? Just out of curiosity, you still play the guitar?
Yeah. Once in every once in a while. But really only just just feel it a little bit sometimes, not in a serious way, really. It's
You know who the drummer will be? The drummer in your band?
Yes.
right there.
I know. I have a drummer.
He deserves.
I saw the potential yesterday.
Yeah,
right.
You know,
he deserves somebody better as a drummer than me. But you know who I think will appreciate his acoustic skills is the baby who's coming. I want you to play for the little one for the next week, right?
Yes.
Or almost a
I've heard
week.
it's very good for when they're not born yet, and after they kind of it rises certain important features in their brain, and
Yeah.
I think yes, that's the time. I think when I will take it.
Yeah, and that
Take it
little
more into my hands.
that little
Yeah.
baby Kerner is hearing mom's voice all the time, like from ear to ear. It's nice that when dad's away, dad comes home,
absolutely.
and you can sing to the little guy and then over the next week.
Yeah, really looking forward to that.
That's beautiful. Congrats.
I've thought about that multiple times.
That's good.
So I like to follow up with this question also, but now that I know that you play the guitar, we kind of know what you'll probably be in the band. Would you like to be the lead singer? You know, the guitar player, bass player, piano player, drummer, glockenspiel player. I'm the glockenspiel player. Have you ever heard of the glockenspiel?
Glockenspiel?
Yeah.
No, I have not. Is that a rhythm something?
It's you have to look it up. It's legit. Nobody knows.
I think of it as a fictitious German instrument, but it
is.
It's real.
Is it with like bells?
It's kind of like a
jingles.
No, kind of like that. It's kind of like a xylophone, you know, and people play it, or you can hold it, you know, up. It's. I played trumpet in a band back in Oklahoma City in high school, and the glockenspiel was right behind me. I mean, so I knew the drum section was always, you know, the percussionists were always behind me. They played the glockenspiel, so I knew about the glockenspiel only because you know I was in the high school, you know, band back in Oklahoma City, and no one believes me. You know, I was like, yes, there's such a thing as a glockenspiel.
It's always an instant laugh. Everybody laughs at
such a
glockenspiel. Good.
Right. Well, I heard it for 6 years in my ear, you know, so I figure like I could
I mean, you always have the drums, the singer, the glockenspiel, and bass.
That's it. Bass.
Drummer,
classic.
glockenspiel, guitar. So there we go. 3 guys right there. So,
Love it.
Right. So you'd want to be guitar player, lead guitar player, and singer at the same time?
I think rhythm.
Rhythm
right
guitar.
now. I would handle rhythm better. Lead takes more work. But rhythm I can pick up quicker.
So do you you go, okay, what chord we're in, and just kind of look over and go, okay, here we go, 4/4, you know, 2/4 time, you know, that kind of thing, 7/8.
Yeah.
You can
I don't know if I still have this ability to hear and play in certain easier songs. But you know, once you see the notes, it's always doable. Yeah, most rhythm riffs are.
So a couple of questions right here came across the wire right now real quick. Pink Floyd, favorite song. What's your favorite song from
Wish You Were Here.
Wish You Were Here. Okay, so there we go. Rick Eckloff.
I think so.
Okay, and then Nick Smith, one of our other viewers, old Metallica or the current lineup of Metallica?
Old. The guy was a good tennis player, the drummer.
Oh, Lars Ulrich, amazing tennis player, yeah. And, of course, his dad was top 10 in the world, Torben Ulrich.
But he had number 1 hair in the world, too, because it was down to his...
Number 1 hair here, but also number 1 hair in the world here. That guy had such a good beard, he used rubber bands to keep it in.
That's what it was? Okay. Yeah.
Torben.
Yeah.
I just remember he had really long hair.
Did the drummer play college tennis?
No, he played a good level of junior tennis, and I want to say it's before he moved to San Francisco and Marin or wherever they lived, wherever Lars's big house was. But I think it was in the Pacific Northwest, just outside Seattle is where Torben settled. And like Lars got to play with people like Jeff Borowiak, who was number 2 or 3 in the world in doubles, but I don't think he made it. Like you were saying about specializing and American, we tend to play, you know, he played soccer and whatever else and baseball and all. But like you said, accomplished junior player, and he probably started concentrating more on music at 14, 15, 16. But I think in 16s is when he phased himself out.
I think also certain sports you kind of can stay more, have more variety, you know, like, you know, for example, now you see, boxers start late and, but they're in such good physical shape. But tennis is a very very detailed sport. It's to have that capacity of staying in different areas for too long. But that's a little thought I had.
Yeah. That's interesting. So old Metallica.
Such cool questions too from Nick and Rick.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lars is still mentally jacked because of Napster. So
he had that problem, and he was very outspoken in a war, really.
Yep.
With Napster.
Yeah. So all right. Let's go to the second set of the third set. Second set of the third set. See, all right. First paid job. Did you have a little paper route in Estonia? Did you guys throw papers?
Job.
Or did you work out the club street?
I got. I painted a fence in my house. Remember, I got paid. I was like 10, but that was from my dad.
That's okay.
I don't know if that counts. Yeah, but
that's pretty good. You mow the grass? Did you mow the grass at your house too?
Yes, all the time.
That's good.
Well, we have a huge yard in my hometown. It's like really big. It takes a lot of work. Back then, my dad used me a lot for that.
That's what parents are for.
That's why I left.
This is out of a Mark Twain book. This is great.
Yeah. And summer camps are the next that comes to my mind. Summer camps in college.
Camp counselor?
Sophomore year. Wait, I must have had something else. Well, also you play pro tournaments.
Yeah.
I won a pro tournament, 25K tournament when I was 17.
All right.
So in doubles, that is considered that as well. So definitely, tennis winnings.
Yeah. Well,
earlier.
Well, camp counselor. There's a famous movie called Meatballs. You need to watch this way before your time. Bill Murray was the head of a summer camp, and I could see you need to watch it because it's really funny. It's goofy, funny.
Meatballs.
It still plays well to this day. And I can see Marcus as a camp counselor, and they're probably which camp were you at? Just out of curiosity.
That was SMU.
SMU,
right here.
Right here.
The junior camp. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was a fun
one. During the summer, Coach Neufeld ran them, and I was, not the counselor, but I was just
one of the pros.
There.
Yeah. My son Chris went to that camp all the time. He said he had a great time. He took a sack lunch, and you guys took him over to the pool and jumped off the high dive. And he said that there were a bunch of girls usually on campus, cheerleaders, kind of campers and that kind of stuff. He goes, man, I had a great time. He's 32, so he would have been a little before you were there. But
that's right.
He said that you guys had a really good time at the camp there at SMU.
Yeah, they're to this day, even now, they're constantly increased in popularity. They're doing really well with that.
Yeah, it helps to have those nice indoors too.
Oh yeah,
when it's
in Dallas,
when it's
summer,
106 degrees outside. Yeah.
You weren't. Yeah. You didn't get. Were you? Did you play a year in the new facility, or were you just right before it?
No, I started when the facility got ready.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so
I did my whole career in the facility.
Yeah, I was going to say because I did.
We were the first team to step into the 2014.
Terrible facility. If anybody wants to look online, to look at SMU's tennis facility, they used to have to play out here. It was so bad that they were building the facility. And we hosted many a match out here on campus. So, but that's a great facility. I mean, who wouldn't want to play at SMU?
It's one of the finest, in the country. Yeah. It's always in those lists, top 10 college facilities in the country, and it didn't used to be until about 2014.
I think that could even take the world stage.
Yeah.
I think it's
indoors for sure.
Yeah, good enough to hold an ATP 250 Dallas Open. Yeah, that was impressive.
Did you go to the 250? Did you go watch the tennis? A lot of it.
Yeah, almost every day. Yeah, it was awesome. I was, my teammate Nate was playing. That was really fun to watch. A bunch of, I saw Pelka Isner, the longest tiebreak ever.
That's right.
24-22.
Semifinal 20s,
yes.
Yeah. that was, yeah, it's the guy, the way they handle the pressure is.
Yeah, those guys.
Pretty impressive.
Did John win today? Because I know he was playing. Did he win in Madrid? Because that was.
Yeah.
Did he win the match? Because he was playing.
Straight sets, right?
Not sure.
Yeah, because I was. We'll look it up here in a second. But
good.
Favorite kind of TV shows, movies? Do you like to watch TV shows? Netflix, you know, Pluto, Roku.
Not recently too much, but Breaking Bad. It's first that comes to my mind. I really enjoyed that. I couldn't stop watching that. I couldn't stop watching.
It's like a train wreck, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you guys seen it?
I mean, the most memorable seasons were toward the end when Gus Fring died. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but that was crazy how it ended. And of course, you know, the interplay between him and Jesse that lasted 4 or 5 seasons. That was unbelievable. Well made show.
Yeah. No, it was...
Yeah.
Do you binge watch? Are you a binge watcher? Like, if you'll watch something like, say, on Netflix, will you want to watch the whole thing, or do you kind of watch one by one?
Yeah, definitely. No. The whole thing straight away, no sleeping.
You wake up at 3 a.m. and you text AJ, go, hey, AJ, come on. He's always up.
He's going to be ready for having a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes you'll be up and you'll do the bottle late night and you'll watch some, something good.
Keep going.
Yeah,
but it's easier when you don't even fall asleep.
Yeah.
So you just
roll.
It's a straight line.
I just remember my kids, they are always fed with the bottle, and I got this.
Yep. No,
it's like your turn.
Like, honey,
go. No, come on. It's like, man, I remember a couple of times.
The elbow's coming.
The rocking chair next to the radio, because you didn't want to turn on the television because it was too much light. So I'd listen to the radio just kind of a little quiet, and I'd just sit there and just kind of like, go to sleep. Come on. It's like, please, Chris, and Ashton.
And you're talking about 4 kids you did this for.
Oh, boy. Yeah, you're gonna really appreciate your parents in about about a year, because
2 weeks. Okay.
It takes a little while. It's not. The life's about
to really see. Right.
It's fun though. I mean, but at the same time, it's a lot of work. So, speaking of work, also too, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. What do you like? What's your favorite?
Dinner.
Dinner. Interesting.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm struggling sometimes to have an appetite in the morning. Lunch has become more of just to have energy and to keep going, and dinner is more where you take the time off and enjoy it. I eat out a decent amount, and it's I would say, because most of my work currently is in later times as well, so then you kind of go through that, and then I would say that, yeah.
So is it like
good dinner, cold beer?
Oh, hey, there we go. Nothing wrong with that. Mom's cooking? Was it like a mom? Do you miss your mom's like Estonian cooking? Is there any meals like that, or is it more like, are you more Americanized now that you've lived over here for a little bit longer?
Yeah, 8 years. You can kind of see the consistency of becoming more involved with where you live. So I'm, most of my adulthood has been spent here since 18.
Yeah.
So at first, yes, you miss all the time. It just doesn't go away, doesn't go. But as soon as the time goes by, it becomes a little less and less. But of course, you always do in certain place in your heart, but I always go back as well. A few months a year, I'm there, so you get a dose of it.
What is Estonian food like? Is it similar to what people eat in Sweden or Finland?
Kind of mix the German and Russian food, something like that. I would say. It's but now it's also become more modernized.
Oh.
So you get kitchens from different parts of the world. But normally, if you take German food, you're almost there, basically.
Yeah, I would think some fish too, because you're very close to the sea, right?
Yeah. I think we've kind of been being colonized by both the Soviet and the Germany, I think that kind of left the impact of the food and the culture as well. So
Makes sense.
So like Long John Silver's, is that pretty good fish? Is that
Seafood.
seafood? Is that, yeah? No?
Fine seafood.
Yeah, that's fine seafood cuisine.
Yeah, Long Johann Silver.
Yeah. What about Whataburger? Are you a Whataburger guy? Now that you're not playing tennis,
No.
do you eat Whataburger?
I'm very anti-fast food. Yeah.
Oh, come on, Whataburger. We're going to have to. What about barbecue? Now, do you like barbecue?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Yes. I went to this. Have you guys been to a place called Loro? It's a mix of. So the guy who started Franklin's in Austin,
Yeah.
and another guy who started Uchi,
Yeah.
they mixed, and then it's an Asian version of Franklin's,
Amazing.
and it's on Haskell Avenue, and the barbecue is incredible. I just went there today.
How do you spell it? How do you spell it? L?
Loro.
Oh, simple. Loro. Yeah. And it's on Haskell. We're going. We're going one day.
It's really,
Do I
really
get
good.
invited? I mean,
Yes,
you guys,
of course.
You guys live down in the woke neighborhood.
Well, you're the barbecue
Have you got-
expert, so yes.
Have you guys been to Franklin's?
Of course, yeah, in Austin, yeah.
I have not. I refuse to wait an hour for barbecue. I will not. I know where it is, but yeah, I've been to some other Austin places that are just as good, almost as good. I know Franklin's is really good, so I would love to go when there's not the traffic. You know, I'm not. I can't wait for that. Oh, he's lost. He's back again. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm back. It's leaving you guys guessing.
Right. Well, speaking of food and dinner, because that's our favorite meal as well. Let's say that you have some dinner guests and you're going to invite them over to the Kerner household at some point, or maybe we go out to dinner. We know AJ and I would be invited. Who are 4, maybe more? You know, it doesn't matter. This is your soiree party, hoedown, shindig, as we say in Oklahoma. Who would you invite? And it can be from like Adam and Eve all the way, up to anybody.
No.
Yeah, it can be musicians, literature, actors, whatever.
Lars Ulrich,
Lars, Walter White.
Walter White, yeah.
You have to have Roger there.
Oh,
Yes.
For sure. Elon Musk.
Ooh,
Amazing.
That's guys. Yes, I like him.
Sure.
That's a first
Guys.
timer, isn't it? I think that's the first time Elon's been mentioned on the podcast.
I think you're right.
Yeah, good dinner guest. I like that.
Definitely. It will come. I would, I have to be very selective because that's once in a lifetime opportunity.
It really is. Elon and Roger. This is amazing so far.
Yeah. What about Nick Kyrgios? You think, Nick, would you like to be invited to this?
Nah.
Mate, you call yourself a journalist, mate. Piss off. Next question, mate. Bro, come on now.
This would be a very intellectual. dinner.
Okay.
Not necessarily a fun or emotion based.
Yeah.
That Kyrgios likes to represent.
So what about somebody from like Estonia? Would there be any Estonian, scientists?
My wife just waved at me and say, I have to mention her.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, we know that. I mean,
Christina is in the dinner for
Of course,
sure.
that's just a
right.
obvious fit.
It's a given.
Yeah, so that's number 3 there, and there's still some Jordan for sure. But
Oh,
I would
Michael
Elon
Jordan.
Musk and Roger hit like this.
Yeah.
It's easy.
They would actually have an interesting conversation too,
Yeah.
because
We'll set that up.
we got to set it up.
Next.
And one of my
Podcast.
Yeah, next podcast. One of my questions would be, Roger seems close with Bill Gates. Elon seems at odds with Bill Gates in a lot of little ways.
Warren Buffett as well.
Warren would be awesome.
yes.
What a great conversation that's going to be.
Yes, I like him.
Well, Craig always follows
Yes.
this great question up with an even better question.
What are we eating? What are we having? What are we?
Like, what does the Kerner household, what are you and Christina going to
Are you going to make
serve
something?
for
Bring
this
in?
dinner for Warren, Roger, us, and
what are we
Elon?
Yeah. Traditional Estonian food? Are we going to have some Franklin's barbecue? Or
Yeah, I think we're gonna mix it up. We're gonna go with good quality pasta with, white sauce and chicken and good barbecue.
Amazing.
Some Estonian dish to it, sauerkraut.
Ooh, sauerkraut.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Good meat. Yeah. Something like that. I think we would mix it up. So have a shareable table.
That's going to be an Uskumatu party.
Yes. Anybody from tennis world like Annette Konevi or something like that? Kaya Kanepi?
Yeah, I know them personally.
Yeah.
So it's maybe just because of that they wouldn't fit that table because
they'll get the invite.
But no, yes, they're great people.
All right. Here's another question. Another good one. East Coast or West Coast in the U.S.? East Coast, West Coast of the U.S.?
West Coast.
West Coast, really? What part?
I just went to Orange County in February. It was incredible.
The OC. He's an OC guy.
Yes.
I can see him being in California.
Yes, it was very, very cool experience. I've never been. Sorry, guys.
You're plugging something in, yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
We don't want him to disappear. We don't want to lose transmission.
That's right.
That's fine. You can keep going.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
So
so west over east.
I need one more. I need to go. We'll keep talking.
Okay.
We'll hit Warren Buffett's definitely for you, Roger.
Yep.
Warren Buffett, Elon.
Yeah, that's a great guess.
Yes.
We can come back to it. We can circle back, as Jen Psaki says.
Yes.
We'll circle back.
Yeah.
Circle back. We'll come back here. We'll let you keep thinking. Mountains or beach? Are you a mountain guy or beach guy?
Neither. Really.
Really.
I get a little bored when it's when there's not too much activity. But if I was to pick, then beach. I played beach tennis quite a lot.
What did you think of that game?
Yeah. Good. In Estonia, really popular. There's ITF circuit, the coaches I told you about in my hometown, they played like Davis Cup things and World Tour, and it's ITF tour. So it's actually like a tennis underneath the ITF. So
you ever played beach tennis?
I've played it on the beach, but not officially in a tournament. What are the paddles or rackets like? What does it feel like to play on the beach?
I think it's also, there's holes in the paddles.
Yeah.
They're kind of like paddle platform tennis rackets, but I don't think platform tennis has holes in the rackets, right? I don't think they do. So there's like holes in there, and then like an orange dot ball or something.
Yeah, it's a low compression ball.
Tennis ball.
And the net is up here, right? The net is very big, like volleyball almost. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it's tricky. It's like a lob overhead drop shot kind of game.
Yeah, it's a lot of touch, a lot of power, and a lot of diving, as I recall.
Yes. Yeah. Fun game.
A lot of texture.
Good.
A lot of texture to the game. And is it when I played it, it was 2 against 2, doubles. Do you guys play singles as well when you play beach tennis?
No. I know they do it, but when I played, and it's mainly a double sport. To my knowledge.
Yeah.
But I think there's a certain segment in singles as well, but less.
So when you all play in Estonia, is it wintertime or is it summertime?
It's in the snow.
I don't want to dive in that.
Oh, okay.
Don't fool yourself with the name, the beach tennis. It's really in the beach, but in the snow.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's we have paddle taking off. Tennis is really popular. I think one of the most popular sports.
Wow.
I mean, now I'm not sure what their actual stats are, but you can't get a court in a facility, and we have a lot of them. So,
so what's the number one? What's the number one sport in Estonia? Is it hockey? Is it something like that?
We are not really as much of a winter sport oriented as you'd think, as like Norway is and Sweden. We have it, of course, but I think basketball.
Basketball?
I'm quite sure. I'm quite sure. Yeah, we have. Now we have some guys playing in college, and I think pretty close to getting guys to NBA as well. They're doing well. We have the guy point guard in Arizona, starting point guard is Estonian, and a few others, and some EuroLeague players, and I think, but really cultivate and kind of be these players that juniors want to play when they see that it's possible to succeed from such a small country. So I think that's kind of really, if you get top players, people notice it, much more. And that's why once we started seeing success more and more and more, tennis has just, plus the good federation work, our federation is very well functioning. Players get support, great facilities, good coaches.
What about curling? Curling big? Curling? Canadian curling? That's a winter sport.
I think so.
No, not.
Yeah,
not
I think maybe that will be my next mission. I'll be there.
Well, I figure that's my Olympic sport that I was telling AJ. AJ knows about this. That I figured if there's any sport that in the Olympics that I can play and maybe be an Olympian, it's curling.
You're going to be good at it, but tell me, are you handling the rock or the broom?
I'm the broom guy. I'm the sweeper.
Broom guy.
I'm the sweeper.
Maybe I'll learn the rock.
You can be the rock guy.
I like it.
You can push it. I like because you can glide because you got texture.
I can glide.
I got no texture.
I can slide. I'm a clay court person.
And we'll let Marcus be the guy yelling out instructions. You be behind AJ
and,
going left, right.
The fourth guy maybe would be Dana White.
Dana White.
Okay, interesting.
Famous, yeah.
Wow, that's a good group. Dana White.
Yeah.
Let's see, Roger, Elon Musk,
and Warren Buffett.
Boy, what
and us.
And us. Well, yeah. We knew that. So, and your wife, and your wife,
and Christina,
right, and my wife, of course. You don't never have to mention that.
Always obvious. She's right there.
Yeah.
All right. Also, sunrise or sunset? Sunrise, sunset. Yeah. Sunset.
Evening.
Yeah, especially when it gets like wide. The color is kind of, you don't see the sun necessarily anymore, but it's all wide range.
So you having this beverage like on the beach, kind of on a dock, just kind of sitting there, kind of looking
after
out.
Beach tennis.
Yeah, after beach tennis. Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of looking out over the ocean. Yep.
Yes, that's beautiful. Perfect.
What's your favorite season?
In Texas, overall, it's very different in Texas.
Okay, well, tell us where maybe in different parts of the. Do you like winter? Do you like the Estonian winter? Do you miss that?
If a nice winter weather is one of the nicest things, if you have a sun, blue sky, nice snow, and you dress properly, it's amazing. Yeah, I like playing on red clay a lot, and that only happens in the summer. So I would say summer, but I also like the differences, the changes. I wouldn't always also want to be one way. It's, I like to adjust to different environments. Makes life more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so like Texas, do you like? Because we have one season basically. That's kind of like summer most of the time. No, we do every once in a while get a little bit. If
once it ends being too windy, it gets too hot.
Yeah, right.
That's
gosh, we've had it's been really windy this spring too.
That's right.
Oh my gosh,
so windy.
Yeah, that's the one bad thing about the one thing nice about Dallas though. Usually the wind does settle down at dusk, at sunset. So usually it doesn't. If you go north about 200 miles where I'm from, it just blows all the time. I mean, it
won't stop. Oh, wow.
It's a constant. Oh yeah, no. That's why I wanted to move down here. Get away from that. So, all right, let's go to the third set. We're rounding the turn right now. All right. Do you remember your very first tennis racket back in Estonia when little Marcus was starting to play tennis?
It was the Andrea Agassi's
head radical.
I don't remember. It was the kids version, the orange and the gray, the silver. You remember that one?
Yeah. A radical from the late 90s or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great
that
one.
Was the. Yes, that's the first one.
Do you still use it? Do you still have it? You still have it out there?
No. I should. These would be good things to have. Maybe my dad has it in the house.
Yeah, you ought to get your kids to use it.
Make a collection of things like that.
It was a junior length, right? It was a junior racket.
Yeah. I was 6, 7.
Yeah.
Not like the smallest one, but not the complete, but a little bit bigger.
Yeah, a little
not
more.
the exact measurements.
Now he uses these very nicely customized Prince rackets. And
Really?
Craig was the Prince rep years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's coming back.
Yeah. Let's see.
Which Prince racket do you use right now?
It's like
Tour
Textreme
100. It's
Tour.
it's the it's the one Lucas Poi played it with.
So it's
Tour
like
100.
the black green one, if I recall, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The green black
Right.
one.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause you get those either at Tennis Warehouse or Dick's. Yeah, I know that
I believe Swiatek won the French Open with it.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple of years ago when she
Yeah.
October, so a year and a half or so. Yeah.
Great racket. I really like it.
So indoor tennis or outdoor tennis?
Outdoors, red clay, no wind.
He wants
Is
it all.
yeah. If you take the best of both worlds, then outdoor.
So is there a club? Are you envisioning? It sounds like you're almost envisioning a court in Estonia. I can almost see it.
I kind of envision the memories, the matches, and the practices. They kind of come different clubs, different courts, but I do have things popping in my head. Yeah.
We can see it. You can see it.
Not a certain court, but like different situations, different. Yeah, but that's where the best memories are from.
Where's your favorite tournament? Is it the Australian Open? Did you say? I think we were talking about.
Yeah, Rick's
yeah.
fun question.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to that one more time and say favorite tournament is Australian Open.
Australian Open. Yeah.
How about not as a Marcus, not as a player, but this time in the third set, let's make it more through the lens of what you do now: real estate investor, tennis coach, and just a fan and a lover of the great game. What is your favorite tournament to watch?
But personally, I like, I would watch smaller ones, like Stockholm Open is in the Royal Hall in Stockholm. I mean, you can't beat Indian Wells still. It's too, I've been there. It's just too nice, but my experience would be more from TV though. So it's to name places like that, I would have to have been there to have the comparison. Yeah. So,
did you ever go down to Monte Carlo?
Indian Wells.
Did you ever go to Monte Carlo? Okay, yeah.
No, but it seems incredible. Yeah, I mean that has to be one of them.
I've been on the court and actually was teaching right there at the. Well, there's three courts that make the stadium court up. Oh my goodness, yeah. I would have left Bent Tree and worked there, but they didn't need any American English-speaking tennis pros. No, because I asked the guy because I was looking over the Mediterranean one night. It was about 5:00 in the afternoon. Nobody was there, so I walked up to the pro shop. It's on the second level, looking out over the Mediterranean, over these courts. And I was sitting there going, God, ridiculous. Oh my gosh, it was unbelievable. I mean, and you're like in a big amphitheater because those mountains are all around, and Monte Carlo is built into the mountains. And I was sitting there going, "You guys ever need any English-speaking American tennis pros?" And he goes, "No, I can't say." He just kind of shook his head. And I was like, "Damn!" It's like, okay, all right, I gotta go home. So, boy, it was that to me. I mean, I've been to a lot of tournaments. That's like the one, the clay court that you're remembering in your mind. That was was unbelievable just to see.
That would be it. Yeah.
Yeah, to see that. So
I always have also bright memories from the Key Biscayne Miami times. I played Orange Bowl over there.
Yeah.
And I went there later as well. And but I preferred the last place. I mean, I've seen kind of videos and stuff from the new place. I liked Key Biscayne. That was a really cool setup in, between trees, and you kind of feel like you're not in Miami, but at the same time, the ocean and the view is there. And, that was a really cool spot.
Back when it was at Crandon Park rather than the Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, he was going to South Beach. I know what he was doing.
He was partying.
He was going to South Beach. That's why, kind of like at the Crown Hotel with Murat Safin. He's probably hanging out.
Safin is there as well.
He's everywhere.
What's the most embarrassing moment you've had in tennis? Have you had any embarrassing moments, like you slide on the clay, do the splits, or did you fall down doing a tweener, anything like that?
it's always kind of awkward when you serve and the racket flies out of your hand and you crush it. That's happened a few times. It's kind of more embarrassing to myself.
Yeah.
I can't want. Missing like the super easy balls. That's happened. Can't say that.
Like right there,
like
right
on top of the net. You'd think it's not possible to miss. You still manage to do it.
About to pound it into oblivion, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, wait a minute, where'd that go?
Yeah. I would. Yeah. I don't have a very specific one, but maybe it will come. I'll come back to it later.
Well, I'll tell you, we had one. I was trying to impress some girls, and one day in practice, and that was wrong because I was thinking I was all that in a bag of chips. I stand at the service line about right there, about 2 inches behind the service line. Having this friend of mine served to me, and one got away, and it kind of went, up, and
it bounced and came up into your
area that you don't want to get hit in. And I was down for the count for about the rest of the day, and they started laughing because they knew. And everybody started laughing. I was like, I barely walked off the the court, and I was like, that was stupid. That was really embarrassing, and that they didn't let me live it down for at least a couple of weeks. It was always mentioned, but it was, I thought, I'll show these girls how fast I am. Just like, it was like, oh, wow. Because I think it hit the line, basically.
And today, if those girls were interviewed by us, they would watch the Sabre, sneak attack by Roger.
Yes, I was trying to practice that.
And they'd be like, remember when Craig Bell tried that?
That didn't work so well. No. Did you have any superstitions or rituals? Did you ever have any superstitions, or did you step on the lines? You didn't care about that, or have to set your water out a certain way?
There's like certain clothes you practice on, and you put them on before the match. It didn't feel right. Wristband had to always be on the left hand.
Oh, really?
Not on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did. I but it was very specific about clothes. I remember there was certain clothes that just didn't feel right. You couldn't decide what you're going to put on. And then when you step on a court, you're like, no, that was the wrong one. Can't win anymore.
Yeah. So
have to go back, switch it.
So did you have to eat at the same place? Like if you won a match, you ate at a certain place. Did you have to go back and keep eating the same thing every morning or every afternoon, something like that?
No.
No, you didn't work that super.
No, I didn't. I had the, at some point in tennis, you remember that when you had that beard thing, you can't shave for the whole week.
Yeah.
Right.
I did that at some point, and it helped. But I guess that's why I started shaving during the tournament. It didn't work out that much anymore.
It's funny when I saw you.
We figured it out.
Yeah, and when I saw you Thursday night, we both had a beard, and now we're both shaving. We'll be back.
We'll be back. 100%. Tomorrow. We'll slowly get there tomorrow already.
Yeah, that's right.
So I know you're getting ready to have your first kiddo, and maybe of many, many more. Do you want your kids to play competitive tennis, or would you rather them play recreational tennis? Or does it matter?
I'd rather have recreational.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I would, as much as I've been through with it, and as much as it's given me, it's tough to imagine doing that again. It's, I think it would be tough to live that life through the kid, so I think it's kind of bittersweet. It's a good question. I get asked that often.
You do.
Once you see the kid play and stuff, maybe it will change, but I don't really, I will never be the one to push to become the best of the best.
Markus, if we asked the same question to your lovely wife, Christina, what would she say?
Same,
consistent.
Yeah, I think we kind of more support freedom in selecting of what works for him. And I kind of, in some ways, hope it won't be tennis.
What about What about like American football? Would you want your kids? There's a lot of parents don't want their kids necessarily to play football. I played 9 years, and that's why I'm the way I am. Because I got my bell rung a few times. No pun intended. Craig Bell. Yeah, but would you want your kids, let's say, to play American football, or would you rather have them play soccer, lacrosse, baseball, anything like that?
Yeah, lacrosse is not bad. Football, it hasn't never been up. I to this day, I barely know the rules. I mean, I do, but it doesn't. I haven't picked up that part of America really. The football, the huge society around football. It's, but yeah, basketball, soccer, lacrosse. Lacrosse is interesting, but it's when the kid gets exposed to those things, it's kind of he'll find a way. I think if he has the passion to go towards something, then. But it won't come. I think the motivation has to come from himself, not from the parents pushing.
All right, so
I've seen it so many times. I've seen so many Eastern European players how they go in tents. They wake up at 6, practice 6 hours a day. Can't have no money to go to the next place. Putintseva is a good example. The one.
Oh yeah, Yulia Putintseva. Yeah.
Tough, upbringing, and I saw it in many tournaments, and it's just, I know how much it takes.
And how crazy some of the dads are, right? Some of the dads are nuts. Yeah.
And the sport doesn't love you back as much either. I think a lot of times, I don't. Yeah.
So it's an interesting question. So I just thought about that. You said dads. Are more dads psycho than more moms? Because I know there's a couple of moms out there that have been kind of psycho, but is it more the dads? Do you think? I'm just throwing the topic out there.
Yeah. What do you think, Markus?
Yeah, that's based on my experience. Yeah, more. I've seen some psycho moms as well, but percentage-wise, yes, most, not most, but
most all. You can say most. You're just talking amongst friends.
That's right.
Yeah, we're all a little bit of psychos inside.
Yeah.
Even if we don't show it.
That's funny.
Well, I mean, you start thinking about even like the movie King Richard. Would you consider Richard Williams kind of a overbearing dad? I don't think mom. Like Orsine, what do they call her? It's not Orsine, but she has another name they call her.
Agassi's dad as well, right?
Agassi's dad, yeah.
Emmanuel,
Steffi Graf's dad,
That's right.
Peter Graf.
Yeah.
That's why I'm wondering.
How about Mary Pierce's dad, Jim Pierce?
Yeah, he was a nutcase, wasn't he?
Damir Dukic might be the most infamous one.
Yes.
Jelena Dukic's dad.
Yes.
Yeah,
they were interesting, parents. Yeah, that's why
there's different emotions that it comes to that. I'm not a personal supporter of that. Even if
So a couple more questions here. What sport would you have played if it wasn't tennis? What sport would you have played, do you think?
I think I would have been good at swimming.
Yeah.
Swimming. Interesting.
Yeah. I always liked swimming. I had good swimmer friends. I liked track and field, just because it was just comparing yourself to yourself, getting the extra centimeter. I was I think my competitive drive was more with myself.
I see, yeah.
That's why I think tennis, that was something, I had the talent, but I was missing I didn't feel like I had the need to win. I feel if I've seen the players that become successful they can't live with themselves if they don't defeat the opponent, but me, when I lost to a really good player, 5-4 came off the court, I was, it was a good match. I wasn't no, it's terrible that I lost. I think you kind of need that drive. So I think I would have would have been good in something that, you want to get a certain time, a certain speed, a certain, Because that was just, you can do it in your own pace. You know what I mean? So it's, swimming popped in my head, so I guess that would be.
I think so too. He's blessed
swim?
with that body too.
Yeah, I'm pretty tall, thin, I'm loose arms.
Yeah.
I think that would.
I could see him being Michael Phelps.
For sure.
Yeah.
He's actually 3-4 inches taller than Phelps.
Right.
And his wingspan is probably 6'8" or 9" too.
Do you swim right now? Yeah. Do you swim for your pleasure or anything? Just getting out in the pool?
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't. But always when I go back, I do. In Estonia, for some reason, I always do. And then I go after it. I go for 45 minutes straight, and I enjoy it. It's just kind of being underwater and doing that, kind of being with yourself mentally. It's very, very. I don't like just sitting in the pool, but like actually doing that, I enjoy that. I think that's something that will stick with me and as I get older as well.
So another question about swimming. Are you a member of the Polar Bear Club? Have you jumped in the ocean, when it's like in the wintertime, like dead of winter?
I'm not, but no. Well, yeah, in Estonia, after you go to sauna, you jump into the snow all the time, but I guess that doesn't count. No, I don't think so then.
I think there's some people that like up in Long Island or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's popular.
January 1st or something.
Well.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Is it Estonia? They do that?
Yeah, it is. They do that all the time. I mean, it's like the main thing they do in the winter.
Amazing.
It's very popular, but it's,
No.
You get inspiration when it's so cold. You start thinking, what is there in life? And then you
It's like being a fire walker. It's like walking across fire. It's like I'd never ever figured that one out. Like I don't necessarily need to jump in a.
I did mountain skiing.
Skiing
on a pretty high level when I was until 12. So that's also something. I think mountain skiing. It's also individual. Kind of you go to the mountain, you do your thing, you get better yourself. I think that was for me, and that's another sport I think I would like.
What are you, downhill or are you more giant slalom? Or?
Downhill.
Downhill.
Yeah, slalom downhill. Yeah.
He's a venture guy, man. He's bombing the.
Yeah, but I was 10, and it was nothing. But still, that's something I would want to pick up maybe eventually again.
Did you ever ski jump?
No. Oh, have you seen the? If you go there and look down.
No thanks.
Oh. And then imagine that you go full. You have to put the skis on and now go. It's like
full speed like that.
I've sat on top of them.
Have you really?
It's
okay.
Yeah. I've seen them. It's these guys are ridiculous.
You have to do that at an early age. That's not something that at 27 years old, you're going to probably take up. Do you think people do? They have a ski jumping club. Do they ski jumping big in Estonia? I know Germany has some people that do that. Finland, Norway.
I think so. Yeah, I'm not sure. Sweden and Norway, obviously they dominate all those sports.
Yeah.
I think to a certain degree, yes.
But no, that wasn't in your sporting repertoire at the Kerner household, huh?
No, not that one. Mountain skiing was, but ski jumping,
yes. All right, last question.
Yeah.
We always like to end with this question.
Yes.
This is a very thought-provoking question, so I want you to really pay attention here, Markus. So, all right, so you're the commissioner of the great game, and everything is on you. If you could wave the magic wand and make any change or changes or not at all, is there anything with tennis, the great game, that you would do?
You mean specifically rules to the game?
Could be.
Or pro tennis or really
college tennis, amateur tennis.
Or developmental,
anything. Is there anything that kind of sticks out in your mind that maybe tennis, the great game, should be doing that maybe, in your experiences? Because you've had a lot of experiences.
I think, I would probably spread out the monies a little more evenly, take from the top a little bit, spread it down towards the ATP Challenger, even Future Tour. It's because if you see, because I have experience with that, and I know people who are extremely talented, good players, and can't even really survive, and I feel like sports unfair to those players a little bit if you're 2, 3, even 500 in the world, which is very high level. I would, instead of the Grand Slam champion making 3.5, I would have them make 1.5 or 2, whatever, and then spread that money around more, because I haven't really never gotten an expression that tennis doesn't, the organization, the governing bodies don't have enough money. So I've never really gotten why that wasn't the case, but why they haven't spread it out more. But I guess they're working on it now a little bit, and it's gotten better over time. But that's something definitely.
We've had that come up before. I'm always just curious. Why do you think that tennis is
so top heavy?
Yes, because it's like the very few top get all the reward, and then everybody else struggles.
The top players have said it themselves.
Yeah,
that they it's motivating enough to get $1 million, if you understand, or 1.5, whatever. But if on a challenger tour you get 700 if you won the first round, or something to that ballpark, which is the reality. It's still an ATP governed ATP's tournament. I know Grand Slams are ITF, but also, to that extent, why can't the ITF tournaments have a little?
Yeah, I wonder why. Because do you think that
create a salary if you reach a certain level?
I like that. I've never heard that. That's an interesting point, because I've always wondered why the top players, and I'm not going to say anybody's name, but this has happened even way back when we were playing.
Yeah.
The top players always say, "Oh yeah, we need to make more money," and you're like, "Okay, well why don't you, instead of taking 3.5, take 1.5. But I never hear anybody going, well, I'm going to donate $2 million to the, I think 3.5 is too much. Let's go 1.5. Have you ever heard them say that? I don't know. I've always wondered why.
Imagine now you have 4 slams a year. You take that, 8-10 million, you spread that in Challenger Tour, or, maybe. Yeah. Even Grand Slam qualies, or ATP 250, or whatever. I think it could be. I know they're different. ITF and ATP are different, which is also. I would probably merge tennis more. Merge ATP and WTA. I don't think tennis should keep sideways.
Yeah,
separate from each other. It's a small sport. In the end of the day, if it could be better run by from a one organization, I feel like that would help, because there would be more insight, more knowledge to what's going on, to not that you have this and that and that and that, and then makes it tougher, I think.
This is a very well organized and thoughtful answer from Commissioner Kerner. My only request is that you add some of that prize money to 50 and over orange ball, which is what I plan to play.
I thought it was red ball. I thought you're going orange ball.
I'm quite good at red ball, but orange supports my come to the net vibe a little more too.
Okay.
Yeah. So 50 and over orange ball. Please put that in your mind and maybe your plans, Commissioner.
More money.
Yes. Well, I will take that into account. I can't promise anything, but.
Thank you. Thanks.
No, well, I like that answer. Even like putting both tours together, because I think you're stronger as one than you are as you're dividing a bunch of money out there and you put it together. I think.
Tennis is in the end of the day, it's a small sport in a way, where it's not. Now I think if you could run it like in such way, that would benefit everyone. 100%.
Very thoughtful, Markus. Like the entire 3 sets, where Markus showed so much skill, humility, and humor too. Thank you, Markus.
Thank you, Markus.
Thank you very much.
We just loved having you on the show tonight. Thank you, buddy.
Very uskumatu
interview.
Uskumatu. Something like that.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you. We appreciate your time. We know we've knocked out about an hour and 40 minutes right now. It's getting close to 10 o'clock. So we're
getting close to bedtime for these two. So go get some sleep because in about a week and a half, you're probably not going to get as much sleep.
Not much.
So congrats to you and Christina on the beautiful baby coming up. And I can't wait to see a picture or two when the baby's born.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah,
really, really appreciate it. That was super fun.
Super fun for us.
See you next Sunday, right? Back
next Sunday, Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday. He's going to be He's going to be out there.
I'm retiring. All I'm going to do is sing backup if I have it.
Do you sing falsetto like Eric, or do you
never? Oh my goodness!
Do you hit the lower register like Mark? Marcus has a good voice.
He's got a very good voice.
I can hear that.
Yeah,
kind of.
Eric is good. You know, he has a higher pitch sound. He's great.
Folks at home, we're talking about Eric Corrida, who was once the world record fastest server in the world, and on every Prince poster in every shop I went to when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
and there he is playing guitar, 3-4 feet away from me. It was awesome.
Well, I think that it's down to, if you're in the Dallas area, it's down at GIA. That's your buddy Jeff Coleman.
Our friend Jeff. It's Jeff Jeffington. It's GIA, spelled J-I-A, Modern Chinese, Preston Center, Preston and Northwest Highway. And I'm partial to Thursday nights because that's when the Jeff Jeffington trio plays. But every night, great food.
Have you been out there, Craig?
Oh, yeah. It's my wife's favorite place now.
We took our wives there, actually.
And I've been back there even several times.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
So we love it.
So it's not modern English, it's modern Chinese. Snuck one in on you, didn't I, right there?
I'll melt with that order.
That's right. He doesn't know what we're talking about. Modern English was a band in the 80s. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll melt with you. That was their one-hit wonder, basically. I think that they have anything else? I don't think they had anything else going on.
They
had a couple.
In concert, they'll play about 8 songs, and all 7 of the other songs, I think people are like, hey, when are you guys going to play Melt With You?
Modern English. So that's why he said GIA, modern Chinese.
GIA,
I go, modern, that's modern English. So no modern English.
Yeah.
We like to humor ourselves.
We do. We like to cut it up and laugh a bit.
All right.
So, Marcus, good night.
Thank you, guys.
See you soon, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Marcus.
So much.
Congrats on the baby.
Bye. Right.
Thank you.
Come back for number 200.
That's right.
You're back.
Yes.
You're our guest at number 200. That's only 84 away.
That's about a year later.
Okay.
See you, buddy. Good night.
Good night.
See you guys. Thank you.
CB, what a great interview. You asked some really fun questions there.
Yeah.
Marcus is amazing. Great man.
Great guy. Great kid. Or great guy, kid.
Great kid. Yeah. He's only 27. I think
27.
I think we're good calling him kid still.
Yeah, he's a kid still.
Yeah. Even though he's about to be a dad in about 10 days.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We appreciate Marcus a lot. He's a really nice young man, and congrats to he and his wife on a week, right? A week?
I think it's May 13th, so about a week and a half, something like that, or almost 2 weeks.
Well, also want to say shout out to my daughter again. Ashton
Happy
Bell.
birthday, kid. Young Ashton. What a cool, smart girl.
Yeah, 34. That's old Ashton. So, all right, should we sign off here,
We
I guess,
should.
with the man?
We should. Let's wrap. And everybody, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share.
Yep, please do. We like your peeps, I think, maybe. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening to Season 1, Episode 116. We're in the 116 digits.
Not bad.
Is there an area code, 116? I don't know about that. Is there?
I don't think so.
But we're At the Net Podcast. Join us in 2 weeks. We're going to be off on Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Can't do that. As we'll be talking with Mickey Ball and Glenn Arrington of the USTA.
Yes,
USTA.
and Tennis Industry United.
Yes.
Which seems to be a common theme in that last question for a lot of people.
Yes.
The idea of uniting things, whether it's the tours or ITF and things like that.
Yep.
So Tennis Industry United.
Yes.
Proud to have those guys. Once again, that's Glenn Arrington, hilarious, smart guy, and Mickey Mall, who is still a ridiculously good tennis player at 50-something or whatever he is.
Also, join us on Wednesday evenings as we do this thing called Tennis Shorts every once in a while, don't we? 8
You got to join us Wednesday evenings. I believe we're off this Wednesday, but we'll see.
Yeah. But we're on Monday
We're
night.
on Monday.
Tomorrow night we have Scion Wilkins.
Right.
Yeah, so we're on Monday night at 7 o'clock. Is it 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
7 o'clock on the gram. So look us up over there at the Net Talk Show, I believe, on the gram right there. Usually that's two takes, two legs of the short, right?
What's in Craig Bell's tennis shorts?
Big
we get to find out on Mondays and Wednesdays. Well, this Monday and most Wednesdays.
And like AJ said, be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, the gram, and other social media outlets. Plus, tell a friend or friends, because hopefully they'd like to be netheads, just like like you and I.
Just like we are.
We got some hats, so maybe if you'll hit us up on some digits, we'll give you a chapeau, right?
Yeah, DM us on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. Instagram's probably the easiest. And also, I know Craig mentioned it, but if you've got a good voice and you're a woman, read our intro and send me a demo tape. We'll figure it out.
Right. So, well, everybody, thanks a lot. And that's the tennis news as it seems to us. Good night, everybody, from Dallas, Texas.
Good night, everybody.
I like that song.
Well, we made it to the end, the bridge, and then the end of the song.